Should you grade your cards in 2026? Is it even worth it? If so, what companies do I go with? All these things we're going to talk about right now, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well out there. So, today we need to talk about grading cards in 2026 because card grading is in a very weird space right now. You've got all kinds of crazy things going on. Specifically with a very big grading company, actually the biggest grading company currently, PSA, dealing with a bunch of scandal accusations and possible monopoly or whatever. And you're not sure. You're not sure what to do. You might have pulled a big chase card recently that you really want to grade or you're considering grading. And you want to send it to PSA because you just know that PSA is the gold standard. You know, that's what everybody says. Use PSA. But there are some things that we need to ask ourselves first before we even think about grading cards. And that is, first of all, is the card even gradable? You need to make sure you check the card over top, down, left, right, front and back. Check the corners, make sure the cuts are good, check for whitening, check for scratches, check for centering, all that stuff. Is it worth grading? If it looks good and you think it is, okay, cool. We're past that step. Now we need to talk about which company to go with. And this is the part that most people get so conflicted on. Because a lot of people, when it comes to grading, and I hate to say this, I dare say that at least probably 90% of people or more, when it comes to grading, are grading for the purpose of profit. They either want to grade it to flip the card immediately, especially if it comes back a 10, which that is what most people always want when it comes to grading. If it comes back a 10, they want to flip it immediately for profit. So usually whenever it comes to getting the most profit, the most bang for your buck out of your card, you're going to want to send it to PSA. Because here's the thing, and it's another, thing that I hate to say here, and that is PSA is, no matter what's going on in their world, no matter what negativity they're getting, no matter what accusations they're getting, at the end of the day, they're still the gold standard. They're still the company that is most liquid when it comes to getting the most out of your cards. And those percentage of people that want to sell their cards, regardless of if they hate PSA or not, are most likely going to go with PSA. Beckett is also another choice. But the thing with Beckett is, now that they're involved with PSA more because PSA's parenting company bought them out, a lot of people are weary of them now. And another thing with Beckett is that most people don't like Beckett unless they get Black Label. And Black Labels are very difficult to get. And then you have the other grading companies like CGC. CGC is, I believe, the third best right now, or it might be second best. And a lot of people don't really like CGC because, regardless of if it gets like a Gem Mint 10 through CGC, the big problem is sell-through rate. It's something that's it's going to probably sell one day, but it's not going to sell quickly. And that's another problem that people face when it comes to grading. It's not just about, okay, I don't only want to go with a company that's going to give me the most profit. I want to go with a company that's going to allow me to sell my card as quick as possible. And unfortunately, that's PSA again. PSA, like I said, most liquid. It's going to sell the fastest. I'm not saying you can't sell the CGC. I'm just saying it's going to take a lot longer to sell it. Because if you go to a card show, for example, and maybe you want to sell your slab to a vendor, let's say you walk up and you have a slab of CGC or maybe even tag or something like that. Most vendors nowadays don't want to take those because most vendors know that they're not going to sell quick enough. Most vendors need product that's going to move quickly. So your best chance at selling that would probably be eBay, but it's probably going to sit there a while. And then the market's going to go all over the place and you got to keep up with that. So you got to watch all these things when it comes to grading with other companies aside from PSA. And it sucks. I know it sucks that we're pretty much forced to go with PSA if we really want to try to flip our cards, our graded cards. So when it comes to grading your cards, you really have to ask yourself a few questions here. You have to ask yourself, hey, what am I grading for? Am I grading with the intent of flipping for profit? Or am I grading with the intent of just maybe building a collection of slabs, or maybe like a shelf, or maybe like a display, like that card display back there I have, something like that, but with graded slabs in it. You got to decide what you're going to do here before you even really truly think about grading. Like I said, most people usually want profit. But to the people that want to collect, it's really down to preference at that point. Like, it doesn't really matter who you go with. It's like who you really like. But personally, for me, if I was just collecting slabs and I wasn't going to sell them or anything like that, I would probably personally go with, and this is my opinion here, I would probably go with either Tag or Ace. Ace is, I believe, ran by a YouTuber, if I'm not mistaken. But Ace slabs are really freaking cool. I love the fact that the grade tag matches the aesthetic of whatever card they're grading. Like, it's so freaking cool to me and unique. I love that. And it sucks that they're not bigger. And Tag, I really love that sleek modern look that Tag's got going on. So if I was going to build just a collection, I would probably go with one of those. Now, let's talk about Tag for a minute, because Tag is a pretty good company that can turn even more profits than PSA. I've literally seen, actually recently, I seen a Bubble Mew that was grade 10 with Tag actually sell more than a grade 10 PSA Bubble Mew. It was actually wild to me. But something like that doesn't always happen. Usually PSA always dominates over all the other grading companies. But Tag can turn that profit. But going back to what I said earlier, liquid. It's all about how fast you can move the product. And most people, they want to move it quick before that market changes. Especially if a new set comes out and they get the card graded as fast as possible. Let's talk about the first person that got like the first Mint 10 Charizard. You guys seen how much those were selling for, and they sold quick too. They didn't hold on to those for long. So should you grade your cards in 2026? Like I said, this is all preference. This is all up to you at the end of the day. I think honestly, a lot of people are actually reeling back on grading their cards. The numbers have dropped, and it probably has to do with all the scandals and accusations and everything that PSA is going through right now. And so there's a lot of people that are just like keeping their cards raw. And so that's another big option too, just keeping them raw, man. Like, and hanging them on the wall like that. Those are in some shield cases that are really good. I don't know what the direction PSA is going. I don't know if they're going to get better or worse. I do wish another grading company could rise up and, you know, show at PSA who's boss. But unfortunately, with the way things are and with how, you know, just how long PSA has been around and how they've become just the industry gold standard, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be very hard to beat them. You know, PSA I want to love PSA more. You know, I wish that all these scandals and accusations that were placed on them weren't even a concern. But I do know that most people, regardless of if they hate them or not, are still going to grade with PSA at the end of the day anyway, because they want to go with the grading company that's most liquid. So, is grading for you? Should you grade your cards in 2026? That's not up to me to decide. That is up to you, the person who has the card, who wants to get it graded. But also, another big thing you need to remember here is that it's also a gamble. You are gambling with the grade. Most people want those 10s. If you're trying to get a 10, you really need to make sure that that card looks like it could be a 10. You need to train your eyes to look for any defects. But even still, if you're going to grade with PSA, here's the whole other thing. PSA has human graders. They don't use AI or anything. And the whole theory about whatever grader your card ends up with, if they're having a bad day, if they recently got divorced, if I don't know, maybe just something dramatic happened in their life that just caused them to have a bad day, that could go against your grade, unfortunately, because they just won't care. They'll just be like, I'm pissed. I'm going to give this card that's very clearly a 10, a 9. And then you're going to be getting that card back months later. And then you're going to be scratching your head and you're going to be throwing up your hands in the air, wondering why you got a 9 instead of a 10. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter anyway. Any grading company can be a gamble. Using Tag, though, like Tag uses AI to grade. So if you get like a really good AI grading app, and there's some pretty reputable ones out there, if you use that and you get like, I don't know, a 9.5, 9.6 or whatever, as close to 10 as possible, and you send that to Tag, it's very likely they'd probably give you a 10 on it. But as for PSA, who knows what they'll give you. But that's all I got for this video, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you liked the video, please hit that like button, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. I'd greatly appreciate the support. And as always, happy collecting, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy.